Psalm 59:16. But I will sing of your strength. I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning, for you have been to me a fortress and a refuge in the day of my distress. And Boaz ascended unto the gate and sat there. Behold, a relative came near where Boaz spoke of. And Boaz said to him, and turning aside, sit here in private. He turned aside and sat. Boaz took 10 men from the elders of the city, and said, sit here, and they sat. And Boaz said to the one acting as next of kin, concerning the portion of the field, which is of our brother Elimelech, which he gave to Naomi, the one returning from out of the country of Moab, that I said to myself, I will uncover your ear, saying, you acquire it before the one sitting down, and before the elders of my people. If you are acting as next of kin, then act as next of kin. But if not acting as next of kin, announce it to me, and I shall know, for there is no one besides you to act as next of kin, and I am after you. He said, I shall act as next of kin. And Boaz said, in the day you acquire the field from the hand of Naomi, also of Ruth the Moabitess, wife of the one having died, even she you must acquire, so as to raise up the name of the one having died for his inheritance. And my relative said, I shall not be able to act as next of kin myself then, lest at any time I ruin my right of inheritance. You yourself act as next of kin for my inheritance, for I shall not be able to act as next of kin. And this was the ordinance in former times in Israel, for the right of inheritance, and for the equivalent to establish every matter. A man untied his sandal, and he gave it to his neighbor, to the one acting as next of kin, for his right of inheritance. This was the testimony in Israel. The relative said to Boaz, you acquire to yourself my right of inheritance. And he untied his sandal and gave it to him. Boaz said to the elders and to all the people, you are witnesses today that I have acquired all the things of Elimelech, and all as much as exists to Shelon and Mahlon from the hand of Naomi. Indeed, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, I have acquired for myself for a wife, to raise up the name of the one having died for his inheritance, and the name of the one having died shall not be utterly destroyed from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. You are witnesses today. And all the people at the gate said, we are witnesses. And the elders said, may the Lord give your wife, the one entering into your house, to be as Rachel and as Leah, the ones who both built the house of Israel, and did powerfully in Ephratah, and it will be a name in Bethlehem. And may your house become as the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. Of your seed may the Lord give to your children of this maidservant. Boaz took Ruth, and she became to him for wife. He entered to her, and the Lord gave to her conception, and she bore a son. And the woman said to Naomi, blessed be the Lord, who rested not to provide to you today a relative, and may he call out your name in Israel, and he will be to you for restoring life, and to nourish your gray hairs. For your daughter-in-law, the one loving you, bore him, which is good to you, about 7 sons. And Naomi took the boy, put him to her bosom, and became to him for a wet nurse. The neighbor woman called to him the name, saying, a son was birthed to Naomi, and they called his name Obed. This one is father of Jesse, the father of David. These are the generations of Pharez. Pharez engendered Hezron. Hezron engendered Ram. Ram engendered Amminadab. Amminadab engendered Nahshon. Nahshon engendered Salmon. Salmon engendered Boaz. Boaz engendered Obed. Obed engendered Jesse, and Jesse engendered David.
One man from Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, son of Jeraham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zoph, from Mount Ephraim. And to this one was 2 wives. The name to the one was Hannah, and the name to the second was Peninnah. There was to Peninnah a child, and to Hannah there was no child. That man ascended from days to days from out of his city of Ramathaim to do obeisance and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And was there Eli and his 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, priests of the Lord. And came to pass a day that Elkanah sacrificed. He gave to Peninnah his wife, and to all her sons and to her daughters portions. To Hannah he gave 1 portion, for there was no child to her, except that Elkanah loved Hannah above Peninnah. But the Lord locked the matter concerning her womb. Her rival provoked her to anger, and even a provocation to anger, because of the treating her with contempt. For the Lord closed up the matters concerning her womb, to not give her a child. Thus he did year by year in her ascending unto the house of the Lord, and she was depressed, and she wept, and she did not eat. Elkanah her husband said to her, Hannah, why is it to you that you weep? Why do you not eat? Why does your heart beat you? Am I not good to you over 10 children? And Hannah rose up after their eating in Shiloh, and after drinking, and Eli the priest sat upon the chair at the doorposts of the temple of the Lord. She was in severe pain of soul, and she prayed to the Lord, and with weeping she wept. She vowed a vow, saying, O Lord of hosts, if looking you should look upon the humiliation of your maidservant, and should remember, and should not forget your maidservant, and should give to your maidservant seed of a male, that I will put him before you, dedicated unto the day of his death, and an iron razor shall not ascend upon his head. And it came to pass, when she multiplied praying before the Lord, that Eli the priest watched her mouth. She spoke in her heart, and her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. And Eli considered her to be intoxicated. And Eli said to her, Until when shall you be intoxicated? Remove your wine. Hannah answered and said, No, O master, I am a woman with a hard day. Wine and strong drink I have not drank. I pour out my soul before the Lord. You should not grant your maidservant for mischievous daughters. For from the amount of my meditation, from the amount of my depression, I have been stretched out until the present. And Eli answered and said to her, Go in peace. The God of Israel will give to you all your requests which you asked of him. And she said, Your maidservant found favor in your eyes. And the woman went her way, and ate with her husband, and drank. Her face was not downcast any longer. They rose up early in the morning, and did obeisance to the Lord. They went their way, and Elkanah entered unto the house in Ramah, and he knew Hannah his wife. The Lord remembered her, and she conceived. It came to pass in the time of the days that Hannah bore a son. She called his name Samuel, saying that from the Lord Almighty I asked him. And the man Elkanah ascended, and all his house, to sacrifice in Shiloh, for the sacrifice of the days and his vows. Hannah did not ascend with him, for she said to her husband, I will wait until the ascending of the boy, whenever I should have weaned it, and he shall appear in front of the Lord. He shall settle there unto the aeon. And Elkanah her husband said to her, You do this good thing in your eyes. Sit until whenever you should wean it. Only may the Lord establish the thing coming forth from out of your mouth. And the woman sat and nursed her son until whenever she weaned him. She ascended with him unto Shiloh, with a calf being 3 years old, and an ephah of fine flour, and a skin flask of wine. She entered into the house of the Lord in Shiloh, and the boy with them. And they led him before the Lord, and they slew the calf. And Hannah the mother of the boy brought it to Eli. She said, By me, O master, your soul should live. I am the woman standing before you with you while praying to the Lord. Over this boy I prayed, and the Lord gave to me my request, which I asked of him. And I lend him to the Lord all the days which he should live, for use by the Lord. Prayed and said, My heart is solidified in the Lord. My horn was raised high by my God. My mouth widened over my enemies, for I was glad in your deliverance. For there is no holy as the Lord, and there is no one just as our God. There is no holy one besides you. Do not boast, and do not speak high things in superiority. Let them not come forth lofty language from out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and God is preparing his practices. The bow of the mighty is weakened, and the ones being weakened girded on power. The ones full of bread loaves are made less. The ones hungering disregarded the land. For the sterile gave birth to 7, and the one with many and children weakened. The Lord puts to death, and he brings forth alive. He leads them down into Hades, and he leads up. The Lord makes poor, and he enriches. He humbles, and he elevates. He raises from the earth the needy, and from the dung he raises the poor, to seat with him with the mighty ones of the peoples, and inheriting to them a throne of glory, giving the thing vowed for to the ones vowing, and he blessed the years of the just, for not by strength is man able. The Lord shall make his opponent weak. The Lord is holy. The Lord ascended into heavens, and he thundered. He shall judge the extremities of the earth, being just, and he shall give strength to our kings. He will raise up high the horn of his anointed ones. They went forth unto Ramah, unto their house. The boy was officiating to the Lord before the face of Eli the priest. And the sons of Eli the priest were mischievous sons, not knowing the Lord. The ordinance of the priests of all the people of the one sacrificing was this. The servant of the priest came whenever the meat boiled, and in his hand was a 3-pronged meat hook.
He stuck it into the great kettle, or into the brass cauldron, or into the earthen pot, and all, whatever ascended on the meat hook, the priest took to himself, according to thus they did to all Israel in Shiloh, to the ones coming to sacrifice to the Lord. Before the burning of the fat, the servant of the priest would come, and he said to the man sacrificing, Give meat to the priest to roast, for in no way shall I take meat from you cooked from out of the kettle. If the man who was sacrificing said, First let there be burnt as is fit for the fat, then you shall take for yourself from all what your soul desires. Then he said, No, but now you shall give it, and if not, then I will take it forcefully. The sin of the young men were great before the Lord exceedingly, for they annulled the sacrifice of the Lord. Samuel was officiating in the presence of the Lord, a boy being girded with a linen ephod, and his mother made a small double garment for him, and offered it to him from days unto days in her ascending with her husband, to sacrifice the sacrifice of the days. Now Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife, saying, The Lord pay to your seed from out of this woman, for the loan which she treated the Lord. The man went forth to his place. The Lord visited Hannah, and she conceived again. She bore yet 3 sons and 2 daughters. The boy Samuel was magnified in the presence of the Lord, and Eli was an old man exceedingly. He heard what his sons did to all the sons of Israel, and that his sons went to bed with the women standing by the doors of the tent of the testimony. And he said to them, Why do you do according to these things which I hear being spoken ill of you from the mouth of the peoples of the Lord? No, children, no, for it is not good, the hearing which I hear of the making the people to not serve to the Lord. If by sinning a man should sin against a man, then they shall pray for him to the Lord. But if a man sins against the Lord, who shall pray for him? But they did not hearken to the voice of their father, for willing the Lord preferred to utterly destroy them. The boy Samuel went on and was magnified, and was in good standing with the Lord and with men. The man of God came to Eli, and he said to him, Thus says the Lord, In revealing I revealed myself to the house of your father, and their being servants to the house of Pharaoh in the land of Egypt. I chose the house of your father from out of all the tribes of Israel to officiate as priest to me, to ascend unto my altar, to burn incense, to carry an ephod before me. And I gave to the house of your father all the things of the sacrifices of the fire of the sons of Israel for food. Why have you looked upon my incense offering and upon my sacrifice offering with an impudent eye, and glorified your sons above me, in them blessing themselves with the first fruit of every sacrifice of Israel prior of me? On account of this, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I said, Your house and the house of your father shall go through before me unto the aeon. Now, says the Lord, not even one will be to me, for the ones glorifying me I will glorify, and the ones treating me with contempt shall be disgraced. Behold, days come, I shall utterly destroy your seed, and the seed of the house of your father. You shall look upon new fortifications, upon all the things which Israel shall do good, and there will not be an old man in your house all the days, a man whom I should not utterly destroy among you from my altar. I will make his eyes to fail, and his life will flow down, all the ones abounding of your house, and shall fall by the broadsword of men. This is to you the sign which shall come upon these your 2 sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day both shall die. I will raise up for myself a trustworthy priest, who will do all the things in my heart, and the things in my soul. I will build to him a trustworthy house, and he shall go through before my anointed one all the days. It will be, every one being left behind among your house shall come to do obeisance to him for an obolus of silver, and for 1 bread loaf, saying, Throw me aside one of your priesthoods to eat bread.
Samuel was officiating to the Lord before Eli the priest, and the word of the Lord was esteemed in those days, because there was no vision for giving orders. It came to pass in that day that Eli slept in his own place, and his eyes began to be darkened, and he was not able to see. The lamp of God was before its being extinguished, and Samuel slept in the temple of the Lord where the ark of God was. The Lord called, Samuel, Samuel. He said, Behold, it is I. And he ran to Eli, said, Behold, it is I, for you called me. He said, I have not called you. Return and sleep. He returned, and he slept. The Lord added again to call Samuel. He went to Eli the second time, and said, Behold, it is I, for you called me. He said, I have not called you, child. Return and sleep. And it was before Samuel knew God, and before the revealing the word of the Lord to him. The Lord added again to call Samuel a third time. He rose up, and he went to Eli. He said, Behold, it is I, for you have called me. And Eli discerned that the Lord has called the boy. Eli said to Samuel, Return and sleep, child. And it
It will be, if he should call you, that you should say, Speak, O Lord, for your servant hears. And Samuel went to his bed in his place. The Lord came and stood and called him as once before. And once before that, Samuel, Samuel. Samuel said, Speak, O Lord, for your servant hears. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I perform my words in Israel, so that everyone hearing them shall sound in both of his ears. In that day I will rouse up against Eli all as many things as I spoke against his house. I will begin and I will complete. I have announced to him that I punish, his house, and to the eon for the iniquities of his sons, in which he knew that his sons were speaking evil of God, and did not admonish them. And have I not thus sworn by an oath to the house of Eli? Shall the iniquity of the house of Eli be atoned by incense or by sacrifices into the eon? No. Samuel went to bed until morning. He rose up early in the morning, and he opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to report the vision to Eli. And Eli said to Samuel, Samuel, child. He said, Behold, it is I. And he said, What was the word being spoken to you? Do not indeed hide them from me. Thus God do to you, and thus add it to you, if you should hide from me the word. Samuel reported to him all the words, and did not hide them from him. Eli said, Well, the Lord himself will do the good thing before him. Samuel was magnified, and the Lord was with him, and there did not fail from all his words one upon the ground. All Israel knew from Dan unto Beersheba that Samuel was trustworthy for the prophet to the Lord. And the Lord added again to manifest in Shiloh. For the Lord was revealed to Samuel in Shiloh according to the word of the Lord. It came to pass the word of Samuel to all Israel. The Philistines gathered together for war against Israel, and Israel went forth to meet them for war. They camped at Ebenezer, and the Philistines camped in Aphek. The Philistines deployed for war against Israel, and the war leaned one way, and the men of Israel failed before the Philistines, and there was struck in the battle array in the field 4,000 men. The people came into the camp, and the elders of Israel said, Why is it the Lord devastated us today before the Philistines? We should take to us the ark of the covenant of the Lord from out of Shiloh. Let it come forth in our midst, and it will deliver us from the hand of our enemies. The people sent unto Shiloh, and they lifted from there the ark of the covenant of the Lord of the forces, which sit upon the cherubim. Both the sons of Eli were with the ark of the covenant of God, Hophni and Phinehas. And it came to pass, as the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the camp, that all Israel shouted aloud with a great voice, and the earth resounded. The Philistines heard the sound of the cry, and they said, What is the sound of the cry, this great one in the camp of the Hebrews? They knew that the ark of the Lord comes unto the camp. The Philistines feared, and said, This God, their God, comes to them into the camp. Woe to us! Rescue us, O Master, today, for it happened not thus yesterday, nor the third before. Woe to us! Who shall rescue us from out of the hand of these substantial gods? These are the gods striking Egypt in every calamity, and in the wilderness. Fortify and become as men, O Philistines, so that you should not serve to the Hebrews as they served us, and you shall be men and wage war against them. The Philistines waged war against them, and every man of Israel failed before the Philistines, and each fled unto his tent. There came to pass an exceedingly great calamity, and there fell from Israel 30,000 from the ranks. The ark of God was taken, and both the sons of Eli died, Hophni and Phinehas. There ran a man of Benjamin from out of the battle array, and he came into Shiloh on that day. His garments were torn up, and earth was upon his head. He came, and behold, Eli sat upon his chair by the gate, watching the way, for his heart was receded on account of the ark of God. The man entered into the city to report, and the whole city yelled out. Eli heard the sound of the yelling, and said, What is this sound of yelling? And the man hastened, entered, and reported to Eli. Eli was a son, 98 years old, and his eyes were weighed down, and he did not see. Eli said to the man, to the one standing around him, What is the report of this sound? And the man hastening came forward to Eli, and he said to him, I am the one having come from the camp. I have fled from the battle today. And Eli said, What is the thing taking place, child? The servant lad answered, and said, Every man of Israel fled from the face of the Philistines. A great calamity has happened among the people. Both of your sons have died, and the ark of God was taken. It happened as the ark of God was mentioned, that he fell from the chair backwards, being next to the gate, and his back was broken, and he died. For the man was old and heavy, and he judged Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, having conceived to give birth when she heard the message that the ark of God was taken, that her father-in-law had died, and that her husband died, she wept and gave birth, for her birth pangs turned upon her. And in the last time she was going to die, that woman standing beside her to her said, "Do not fear, for you have birthed a son." But she did not answer, and did not comprehend in her heart. She called the boy Ichabod, for the ark of God, and for her father-in-law, and for her husband. She said, "The glory has been resettled from Israel, for the ark of God was taken." The Philistines took the ark of God, and carried it from out of Ebenezer unto Ashdod. The Philistines took the ark of God, and carried it into the house of Dagon, and stood it by Dagon. The Ashdodites rose early, and they entered into the house of Dagon the next day. They saw, and behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face, upon the ground before the ark of God. They raised Dagon, and they placed him upon his place. It came to pass, as they rose early in the morning the next day, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face before the ark of the Lord. The head of Dagon and both the traces of his hands were removed unto the front of the doorpost, and both the wrists of his hands were fallen upon the threshold. Only the spine of Dagon was left behind. On account of this, the priests of Dagon do not mount, nor do any enter into the house of Dagon, by the threshold of the house of Dagon in Ashdod, unto this day. But by passing over, they pass over it. And the hand of the Lord was oppressive against the Ashdodites. He tormented the Ashdodites, struck them in their buttocks, the one from Ashdod and their borders. And the men of Ashdod beheld that it was so. They spoke, saying, that the ark of the Lord, the God of Israel, shall not settle with us, for his hand is hard against us, and against Dagon our God. They sent and gathered the satraps of the Philistines to themselves, and they say, "What should we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" The Gathites say, "Let the ark of God pass between the ranks to us, and the ark of the God of Israel pass between the ranks unto Gath." And it came to pass, after it being passed through the ranks, and the hand of the Lord came against the city, an exceedingly great disturbance. He struck the men of the city from small unto great in their buttocks, and they sent out the ark of God unto Ekron. It came to pass, as the ark of God entered unto Ekron, that the Ekronites yelled out, saying, "Why do you return the ark of God of Israel to us? Is it to put us to death and our people?" They sent, and they brought together all the satraps of the Philistines. They said, "Send out the ark of the God of Israel, let it sit in its place, so that in no way shall we be put to death, us and our people." For there came to pass a confusion of death in the entire city, exceedingly severe, as the ark of the God of Israel entered. And the living and the dying were struck in the buttocks, and the cry of the city ascended unto the heavens. The ark of the Lord was in the field of the Philistines 7 months. The Philistines called the priests and the clairvoyants and their enchanters, saying, "What should we do with the ark of the Lord? Make known to us by what means we shall send it unto its place." They said, "If you yourselves send the ark of the covenant of the Lord God of Israel, do not send it out empty, but by delivering it up you give it back for the torment. Then you shall be healed, and it shall be atoned unto you, if you should not remove his hand from you." And they say, "What thing for the torment shall we give for it?" And they said, "According to the number of the satraps of the Philistines, 5 buttocks of gold for the fault in you and your rulers and to the people, and 5 golden mice, a representation of your mice, of the ones corrupting the land. You shall give to the Lord God glory, so that he should lighten his hand from you, and from your gods, and from your land. Why do you oppress your hearts as Egypt and Pharaoh oppressed their hearts? Was it not when he mocked them that they sent them, and they went forth? Now take and make 1 new wagon, 2 oxen, having given birth for the first time without the offspring, upon which a yoke was not placed upon. Team up the oxen on the wagon, and their offspring led away from behind them to the house. You shall take the ark of the Lord, you shall put it upon the wagon, and the items of gold, and deliver it for the torment. You shall put in place a chest on part of it, and you shall send it, and it shall go forth. You shall see if it's in the way of their border, and it shall go, according to Bethshemesh. If he did it to us this great evil, if not, then we will know that it was not his hand that touched us, but that this was a coincidence to us. The Philistines did so. They took 2 oxen, having given birth for the first time. They teamed them up to the wagon and their offspring, and they shut up at the house. They put the ark of the Lord upon the wagon, and the placed chest, and the mice of gold, and the images of their buttocks. And the oxen straightened out in the journey on the way to Bethshemesh, in a road in its going. They labored, and they turned not aside, right nor left. The satraps of the Philistines went after them unto the borders of Bethshemesh. The ones in Bethshemesh were harvesting the harvest of wheat in the valley. They lifted their eyes, and they beheld the ark of the Lord, and they were rejoiced to meet it. The wagon entered into the field of Joshua, the one at Bethshemesh, and it stood there by a great stone. They split the wood of the wagon, and the oxen they offered for a whole burnt offering to the Lord. The Levites brought the ark of the Lord, and the placed chest with it, and the items of gold, and put them upon the great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered whole burnt offerings, and they sacrificed sacrifices to the Lord in that day. The The 5 satraps of the Philistines saw, and they returned to Ekron in that day. These are the gold buttocks which the Philistines gave back for the torment to the Lord. For Ashdod 1, Gaza 1, Ashkelon 1, Gath 1, Ekron 1. And gold, mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines, of the 5 satraps, from the cities being solidified, fortified, and unto the town of the Perizzites, and unto the great stone of which they placed upon it the ark of the covenant of the Lord unto this day in the field of Joshua, of the one at Bethshemesh. And he struck the men of Bethshemesh, for they beheld the ark of the Lord, and he struck among them 70 men, and 50,000 men of the people. And the people mourned because the Lord struck among the people an exceedingly great calamity. And they said, the men, the ones from Bethshemesh, who shall be able to stand before the Lord, this holy God? And to whom shall the ark of the Lord ascend of us? They sent messengers to the ones dwelling in Kiriath Jearim, saying, Philistines, return the ark of the Lord, and you go down and lead it up unto us. Come away with me for a while, for the world with its non-stop demands can be put on hold. Most people put me on hold, rationalizing that someday they will find time to focus on me. But the longer people push me into the background of their lives, the harder it is for them to find me. You live among people who glorify busyness. They have made time a tyrant that controls their lives. Even those who know me as Savior tend to march to the tempo of the world. They have bought into the illusion that more is always better. More meetings, more programs, more activity. I have called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and deepest joy. It is a pathway largely unappreciated and often despised. However, you have chosen the better thing, which will never be taken away from you. Moreover, as you walk close to me, I can bless others through you. Song of Songs 2:13. The fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. Luke 10:42. But only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.
2 Corinthians 3:15-18. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. But we all, with open face beholding, as in a glass, the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Some people have the experience of watching as one of their children or grandchildren take on the project of raising a pig for a 4-H club, or a county or state fair. They carefully work to make sure the pig gets the right food, because winners frequently weigh well over 1,000 pounds, and a skinny pig won't get a ribbon. When it is about time for the pig to be judged, one of the last steps of preparation is a thorough washing. All of the dirt and debris the pig has accumulated is removed, leaving it shiny clean. But as anyone who has ever been part of or watched the process knows, washing the pig only changes the outside. As soon as the pig gets home and back in its pen, it will be wallowing in the mud again. After just a few minutes, any evidence that it was ever washed will be long gone. The only kind of change that lasts is change that comes from the inside out. The Pharisees in Jesus' day were experts at appearing holy on the outside, but Jesus rightly condemned their hypocrisy, pointing out that no matter how much whitewash you use on the outside of a grave, the nature of what is buried inside doesn't change. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! For ye are like unto whitewashed sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outwards, but are within full of dead man's bones, and of all uncleanness. Rather than trying to gain God's approval by making external changes, we must allow Him free rein to work on the inside. For God cares far more about our heart, because if the heart is right, the outside will take care of itself. Better a morsel with satisfaction and peace than a house full of many good things and unjust things offered for sacrifices with battles. An intelligent servant shall prevail over foolish masters, and among brethren he shall divide portions. As silver and gold tried in a furnace, so choice hearts by the Lord. For a bad man obeys the tongue of lawbreakers, and an unjust man heeds lying lips. The one ridiculing the poor provokes the one making him, and the one rejoicing at one being destroyed shall not be acquitted. But the one showing compassion shall be shown mercy. Children's children are the crown of the aged, and children are the boasting of their fathers. The entire world of things is of the trustworthy, before the unbelieving not an obulus. Trustworthy lips shall not suit a fool, nor lying lips to the just. Instruction to the ones employing it is a favorable wage, and wherever it shall be turned, the way shall be prosperous. The one who hides offenses seeks friendship, but the one who detests hiding it sets apart friends and family members. Intimidation breaks down the heart of the intelligent, but a fool being whipped does not perceive. Disputes arise with every evil man, but the Lord shall send forth an unmerciful angel against him. Anxiety shall fall unto an intelligent man, but the fool shall argue evil things. The one who repays evil things for good things, evil things shall not be moved from out of his house. The sovereignty of righteousness shall give authority to words, but faction and fighting lead to lack. The one who judges the unjust as just, or the just as unjust, is unclean and abominable before God. Why do riches exist to the fool? For the heartless will not be able to acquire wisdom. The one who makes his own house high seeks destruction, and the one being crooked to learn shall fall into evils. For all time let the friend exist to you. Let the brethren be profitable in distresses. For this favor they were born. A foolish man claps and rejoices over himself, as also the one guaranteeing a loan by surety for his own friend. The one fond of sinning rejoices in fights, and the hard-hearted one does not meet with good things. A man with a changeable tongue will fall into evils, and the heart of a fool is grief to his possessor. A father is not glad over an uninstructed son, but an intelligent son gladdens his mother. A heart being glad makes to be in good health, but a distressed man dries the bones. The one receiving gifts in unfolded arms unjustly does not greatly prosper in the ways, and an impious man turns aside the ways of righteousness. The countenance of a wise man is discerning, but the eyes of a fool are unto the uttermost parts of the earth. A foolish son is anger to a father, and grief to the one birthing him. To penalize a just man is not good, nor is it sacred to plot against just monarchs. The one sparing to let go a hard word is an arbitrator, and a lenient man is intelligent. To an unthinking man asking, wisdom shall be imputed, and any dumb man doing for himself shall seem to be intelligent.